Well, friends, Starry Hills are off-grid, and walking down our very long driveway, there's the house up there. You know, the driveway. We all know about the driveway. Long driveway. And there's a purpose to why this driveway is so long. I haven't talked about this for a while. Security. Even though we live in a relatively safe place here in the mountains of Idaho, and we are pretty much far removed from town and people, there is always in the back of your mind the thought that at any time you could become a victim of robbery, a victim of theft, a victim of vandalism. Doesn't make any difference where you live. People seize opportunities, don't they? And often they seize opportunity because, for different reasons. The place is easily accessible. It looks maybe like someone hasn't been there for a while. Maybe during the nighttime it's very dark. You don't have a lot of good lighting. So we're going to talk about just some safety things that we have implemented here in our homestead to deter thieves, and the things that you probably should think about for your own homestead and your own protection. So number one, the long driveway. We chose this property because we could position the house in a place where it was high, and we could overlook what was going on. In order to reach the house, you have to come up this long driveway. And not only that, even on foot, you'd have to scale half the mountain to get up to our place. So, the access was very difficult. So it doesn't really appeal to somebody who wants to rob the place, right? I mean, who wants to rob a place that's way up there? The driveway being long and with all the sharp corners also is a great deterrent, because once you commit to this driveway, there is no turning around. That was number one. There's no turning around points. You can't just back up. You back up and you go off here. There's no place to back up here. So this is a driveway that once you commit, you commit. And the driveway, even though we maintain it year round, not every type of vehicle is going to be able to get up this driveway. You really have to have a pretty good vehicle. Now, even though we had that going for us, the long driveway, once you commit, you have to commit. There's no place to back up. The other thing that we implemented that would give us more safety and more privacy and more protection was the implementation of gates. Now, gates are great because, number one, once they're closed and locked, they'd have to come up here with wire cutters and bolt cutters and all of that. So they really have to be committed. Number two, this stops most people, but say they want to go it on foot. Well, then what we do is, because this is a stopping ground, they have to spend their time going around it. We do have security cameras and other electronical devices that are set up to alarm us and to record anybody going around that gate. So if you think you're being sneaky, you really aren't. And then you have to go around that gate again if you are stealing anything. So whatever you have in your hand is going to be recorded. So it helps afterwards if you are robbed, right? We can get a picture. So we've got that gate here, and this is actually our secondary gate, because our first gate is at the very beginning of the road. Many times we'll just keep the road gate open, because once you close a gate, sometimes that alarms the thief, or it makes them think like, oh, they're not there. A closed gate means nobody's there. So you really have to learn how to use your gates to fool people. Sometimes we leave them open. Sometimes we leave them closed. That way they never know. If you have a tendency to always leave your gate open and then you go on vacation and you close it, if they're staking out your place, they're going to notice that. They're going to like, ooh, they're all locked up. I bet you there's no one out there. Let's walk up there and see what's going on. You always got to outsmart the thieves. So we also, like I said, with the electronic surveillance, we use game cameras. Very smart to set them up, and not just on gates, but you hide them. You hide them along the way. And then the other thing is have proper lighting throughout your property. I use solar lights, which are really nice, and we also have motion lights up at the house, which are really nice. Motion lights are great because, you know, something turns on in the middle of the night, you know something's lurking around there. Usually for us it's animals, but it could be the human kind of animal. And then the other thing is, you have to be in tune with what's going on your property. I do extensive hiking on my property. I know every print. I know every track that comes up our driveway. I know when someone is turning around at the beginning of the driveway. I know when someone has come up here and committed and then turned around. We know every. I know every. If there's a boot print here, I know every. You have to pay attention, and you do that year round. Summer, spring, and fall. You should really have an eye that is trained to see something that is unusual. You know, is there a candy wrapper on your driveway that didn't belong there? Cigarette butt. You know, thieves are notorious for, you know, they like to smoke and drink, right? A lot of them. You know, because a lot of these people are looking for opportunity because they're drug addicts, or you know, a lot of them it is just from their drug abuse, and they're looking for money, things to steal so that they can pawn off. But those are the telltale signs. You know, do you see in your neighborhood somebody lurking, driving up and down the main road and hanging out where they don't belong? Get your neighbors involved. Even though we live in a very rural area and we don't really have any neighbors, I'll tell you what, the neighbors that we have met, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page, and they look for suspicious activity. And I tell you what, even when I go out to the main road here with my dog and I'm walking around, when the people come by, and I may not have seen them for 2 years, they'll come by and stop, and they're like, "Are you right? Do you need anything?" You should really be on a social basis level of communication with the people in your surrounding area. What kills me and saddens me is when people move into an area and they don't even know the people live across the road from them or up the road from them. And I have had conversations with people even within this week, and I'll say, you know, well, what's your neighbor like? And the one fellow who's actually selling his property and moving, he says, well, I've never met them. I said, well, how long have you lived here? He says, well, it's been 3 years now. That's really sad. We really need to know our neighbors. So again, there are a lot of things that you can implement for your safety. And then we are gun owners. You know, Mr. Hilder, we're hunter and gatherer and trapper and all that. And so as an added protection, we actually do believe in firearms for personal protection. Personal protection either carrying on us or personal protection for the home. There's a reason why we have guns. And so if you do commit to this driveway and you even make it up to the house, you're probably not going to be met with a smile, especially if it's 1 a.m. in the morning and you're going to be met with a gun. I'm just telling you. And that's most people around here because they do believe in their right to carry and their right to protect their property. All right, that's security off the grid, my friends. And if you have any questions, throw them out there. But we're living it, and just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of idea of what we do and how important it is to address it.